Okay. Good morning. My name is Enoch, and I'm going to teach Bachelor of Arts by the 0321 2021. I'm going to talk about the topic one, which is the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which is under my unit, which is called the social linguistics. So, short history of the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. This hypothesis brought about attention to the relationship between language, thought, and culture. It was first discussed by Sapir in 1929. The hypothesis became popular in the 1950s following publication of Wolff's writing on the subject after his demise. After vigorous attack from followers of the Chomskyan theories in the following decades, the hypothesis is now believed by most linguists only in the weak sense that language can have some small effect on thought. Edward Sapir, 1884 to 1939, was an American anthropologist, linguist, and a leader in American structural linguistics. He is the author of The Language, An Introduction of the Study of Speech. Born in Germany, he was a pupil of Franz Boas, teacher of Benjamin Wolff, 1879 to 1941, graduated from the MIT in the 1918 with a degree in chemical engineering, and shortly afterwards began work as a fire prevention engineer. Although he met and later studied with Edward Sapir, he never took up linguistics as a profession. His primary area of interest in linguistics was the study of Native American languages. He became quite well known for his work on the Hopi language. He was considered to be a captivating speaker and did much to popularize his linguistic ideas through popular lectures and articles, written to be accessible to lay readers. The strong version of the linguistic determinism. Linguistic determinism is the extreme version of the hypothesis. This is the idea that language and its structure limit and determine human knowledge or thought. This hypothesis argued that the structure of a language can strongly influence or determine someone's worldview. A worldview describes a hopefully consistent and integral sense of existence and provides a theoretical framework for generating, sustaining, and applying knowledge. Worldview can also be said to be comprehensive and usually personal conception or view of humanity, the world, or life. Examples, we have Kehe, Gikuyu language, Gikuyu culture, which means a young uncircumcised male. In English, boy, which is the European culture, a young male aspect of initiation omitted. So the above are two linguistic terms from different cultures, which can be learnt by a bilingual speaker. Each of the terms activates a different set of beliefs, values as it is used. In the case, we may claim that language, English or Kikuyu, has determined the way of thinking between about these two terms that seem as a direct translation of each other. However, they have different senses in the languages involved. The weak version, linguistic relativity. This hypothesis discussed linguistic relativity. This is a theory that states that there are no universal properties of languages other than the basic properties like arbitrariness, productivity, discreteness, among others. It further stipulates that every language is it were a law unto itself. It thus contradicts universalism because languages are acquired through the process of cultural transmission. Linguistic variation is tied very much to the existence of the in different cultures. Hence, languages are culture specific. It argued that structural differences between languages are paralleled by non-linguistic cognitive differences. The structure of the language itself affects cognition. For instance, the number and the type of basic color words of a language determine how a subject sees the rainbow. This is to mean that language affects through or the way people think. This principle of relativity, weak form, which says that all observers are not led by same physical evidence to the same picture of the universe unless their linguistic backgrounds are similar or in some way can be regulated. In other words, the structure of a language affects the way in which its speakers are able to conceptualize their worldview. An example of this comes from the Eskimos, for they are said to have various names for snow, while other people who come from areas that do not snow only have one name for it. Arabs too have different names for camel since the phenomena is common aspect of the environment. So, the summary to this lecture is, in this lecture, we have learned the various opinions that contribute to the discussion of worldview in relation to language. Let's move to the topic two. Topic two, which is the speech, community, idiolect, and dialect. Uh, I'll start with the speech community. I'll start also with the origin of the speech community. John Lyons offers a meaning of genuine disclosure, local area, as everyone who utilizes a given language or dialect. This definition suggests that it is a definition of language or dialect where they where there exists what can be called a language, also exists a community. Language and speech community may not share a common boundary. English, e.g., English, it is spoken in almost all the world in a variety of methods. What may be a single speech community may use different languages. Many people speak many different languages. E.g., in Kenya, one has one local language. Then Kiswahili and English, it is hence hard to fix boundaries and determine their speech community. A speech community need not have any social or cultural units. It is purely a linguistic definition. Individuals identify with each other on the basis dialect or language. Other ways include socially, political, and ethnic. Charles Hockett says that every language characterizes as speech community as the entire arrangement of individuals who speak with one another either straightforwardly or by implications. By means of a typical language, for example, assuming that two networks communicated in a comparative language yet display no correspondence with one another, they are distinctive speech networks. The Maasai of Kenya and those of Tanzania be supposed to be can are supposed to be two distinct speech networks. Bloomfield Leonard contends that a speech community is a gathering of individuals who collaborate through speech. This is a shift of accentuation, not needing the speakers to have a typical language yet, that the speakers collaborate through language, shared communication. Gampas says that there is totally no explanation that compels us to characterize speech networks, so all individuals communicate in a language. He says that a speech community is any human totals described by normal or continuous communication through shared verbal signs. He later uses the term etymological community rather than speech community. He characterizes a semantic community as a gathering of people which may either be monolingual or multilingual and held together by recurrence of social association, examples, and set of from the encompassing regions by shortcomings in the lines of correspondence. The Individuals associate uniquely in contrast to different gatherings. They might be little gatherings bound together by eye-to-eye contact or may cover bigger areas. Networks are characterized somewhat because of this relationship with different networks. So, inside a community might have inner social cohesiveness. Remotely, its individuals should wind up cut off from different networks in some ways, and here are sure factors that achieve union and separation, and these elements change from one event to another. People will move their feeling of cohesiveness relying upon the elements that achieve union and separation. These elements of union and separation shift as per political, ethnic, or strict affiliations. A speech community isn't just characterized by what it is, yet, in addition, by what it isn't. I'm going to talk about the ideolect. The ideolect, this is what distinguishes one individual from another. The aspects of focused on are, for instance, pronunciation, grammar, choice of vocabulary, and voice quality. Our voices are actually for part of ideolect. In writing, an ideolect comprises vocabulary, choice, grammar, and also handwriting. In short, these are the unique linguistic characteristics that each individual has. It is an individual way of speaking, a personal dialect. Dialect. Many speakers have difficulties distinguishing what they speak as a language or dialect. English uses the term dialect and language in conflicting senses. Dialects are said to be local varieties of the normal lower class individuals or rural speech. It is not clear whether or not such dialects are part of language codes. Dialect is not considered as part of language. Dialect as a social room. This language form excluded from polite society, high class, it is equivalent to non-standard, substandard form of language. The term used in some cases depends on extra linguistic considerations, particularly religious, political, or social factors. For example, there is the Hindi versus Urdu situation. The two varieties are considered to be the same language. There are certain differences magnified for political or religious reasons. Hindi is affiliated to Hindu and Urdu is affiliated to Islam. The minor differences are Hindi is written from left to right, while Urdu is written from right to left. Since it borrows from Arabic, Hindi borrows from Sanskrit. These differences are magnified by the speakers themselves. Dialect linguistics. It doesn't carry any value judgments. It simply means distinct from a language due to difference in vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar. Language is a single linguistic norm or a group of related norms. Hence, dialect refers to one of these norms. A language can be made of one or more of these dialects. If a language has only one dialect, then this dialect is also the language. If the language is a group of related norms, then the language is a group of related norms. For example, the Lua language has 19 varieties, which all put together make up the Lua language. These norms are not static, they are subject to change and evolution. Types of dialects. We have regional dialect confined to a particular geographical region. We have the social dialect. This is a variety of associated with a specific social group or class. The class demarcation can arise from income levels, level of education, religious affiliation, as well as castes. And I believe I've come to the end of my topic 2. Uh, Thank you for listening to me. and we'll meet in the next class.